Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shubhashis Dey, and I am one of the program directors in Shakti Sustainable Energy Foundation. We are a regional climate foundation, and what we do is we support organizations which create evidence which may or may not inform policy making. So I'll take on this whole issue of hydrogen and green hydrogen from a policy perspective. Now, policy making, unfortunately, is a multidimensional initiative, not a unidirectional initiative. So when we create policies or we do research on policies, we often had to take off our activist green hat and put it aside and look at things at a more pragmatic way. In our earlier presentation, the session before us, we had seen that in when we talk about hydrogen economy, there are countries or geographies which will take a lead. And out of the 5 largest economies at this point of time, 2 of the emerging economies, China and Bharat, they will obviously going to play an important and critical role in the hydrogen transition process. I'm not talking about green hydrogen, I'm talking about the whole facets of various colors of hydrogen which has been in a way termed by the global north. And when we see of these 2 economies, what we see that these 2 economies at this point of time is led by 2 leaders who are popular in their respective countries. And both of these leaders has one thing in common. Both of them has seen poverty firsthand. Our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, we know his story. The head of China, Mr. Jinping, has also seen poverty from the first hand. He was passed out, or his family was passed out of Beijing during the Cultural Revolution in 1966. And he clawed back through the Chinese Communist Party and became what he is today. So what does it mean? They understand that policy making has to be people-centric. If there is no developmental priority, if it does not really help the people of the country develop, no policy making, whether it is green, gray, or black, is going to make any sense for the country's perspective. With that point in place, we need to then start understanding and asserting what the hydrogen trajectory should look like. And answering to Dr. Saraswat's question, or my response to Dr. Saraswat's question would be that we need to take a more neutral view in terms of what kind of hydrogen would be best beneficial economically, and as well as looking at the developmental trajectory of the country, and not looking at the color of hydrogen. We often talk about those carbon border tax mechanisms which will be brought in, or already brought in Europe and maybe brought in other geographies. But they look at the amount of carbon dioxide which is ingrained in the product which gets imported, not really how the product is produced. If you are able to produce hydrogen, maybe using, say, coal gas, and then have a CCUS technology which can actually capture carbon dioxide, and that hydrogen then used for, say, steel manufacturing, will produce steel which has a low carbon footprint. And that the same story goes for renewable energy-based hydrogen and then steel production. Even for renewable energy-based hydrogen production, there will be emission. The standards, or the ambitious standards which India has set up, is around 2 kg per kg hydrogen which is generated. So there will be carbon dioxide generated. So let us start looking at from the carbon dioxide or GHG lens and leave aside the energy lens, because often what we do is we boggle down between energy and carbon dioxide, and we feel that anything which is like coming from petroleum or gas or coal or biomass which does emit carbon dioxide is gray, blue, or whatever different color of hydrogen we talk about. Let us look more pragmatically and find out what route would be best for us. I'll give you a use case scenario. a lot of people from global north and also within the country are talking about electric mobility and pushing electric mobility pretty heavily in Indian context. At this point of time, the electricity which is used for electric mobility is gray electricity, is not green electricity. And then the emission which happens at the end of the power plants is there, and that might be lower than driving a, say, IC engine-based vehicle, but it's still there. But we are still driving it because that makes sense economically at this point of time to drive that ahead. The same narrative and policy perspective should be taken, that's my personal view, for when we talk about hydrogen, and not really bog down between various colors of hydrogen and then take decisions mostly from a emotional perspective, not maybe from a pragmatic perspective. So I'll rest my case here and love to hear from others.
Thank you.